This is Twit.
So, did you get to see any of the WWDC events on Monday?
Yes.
We did.
Actually,
do you care? You know what I thought was really weird is that how much they highlighted Microsoft's Minecraft.
So Microsoft actually played a fairly big role in the keynote, and I don't believe was mentioned even once.
Is that weird?
Which I thought was kind of interesting.
Well, where
right?
else
so
besides
the three
Minecraft?
Things, yeah, so
how about those
there were
two
three
Word
places.
windows snapped side by side?
Yeah.
Right. So
Enterprisey.
When Apple did the iPad OS demo, there was only one third-party app that was on that guy's home screen and was demoed, and that one app was Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
It was the only one. The rest of it was all inbox Apple apps.
Isn't that weird?
The other one was the Xbox controller support for tvOS, although, by the way, it's also supported on iOS, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but also the PlayStation controller. So
yeah, but of course, right. But that's fine. I mean, those are obviously the two big ones, so that's great.
Yep.
And then of course the Minecraft thing, which I think was the best part of the whole show.
Totally agree with you. I thought it was even better than the HoloLens version.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I've said this to other people, but if you watch that demo, look at the faces of the two presenters when they finish it up. They are the definition of bliss. They were having fun. Clearly,
yeah, they were loving it.
Clearly, it could have been partially because
it worked, right?
No, that's part of it. By the way, I think that's part of it. Yeah. But I also think part of it is just it was awesome. Like that. Clearly, they thought that what they were doing was really cool, and I think that kind of showed through. It was really neat.
So I have to say this. I was telling Paul this on our way over here. This is the first Apple keynote I've watched in at least 10 years and maybe longer.
Oh, you are a loyal
and the only
Windows person. That's nice.
No, because I don't really care about Apple, as you know, and it doesn't really have a bearing on my world. But right before the keynote started, a rumor started going around the Microsoft watching camp saying there's going to be a big Microsoft piece of this. And so I'm like, I guess I got to watch this. Okay, well, yeah, hopefully it's going to be something I care about. And, I wasn't sad I saw the Minecraft demo because it was cool. But I was kind of hoping it was going to be something.
You had to sit through 2 hours to get to it?
Yes.
Because it was literally at the 2-hour point.
Oh.
At the point where they were talking about makeup on and emojis, I was like, all right, it's time to start drinking beer. I don't even know what time
that was a nightmare moment. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Very
I was
Apple.
like, okay, well, yeah. I forgot what Apple keynotes are like, but it was good that I watched it because it gives me better perspective when Microsoft does things that are like emoji and all the things they care about around the consumer space. Because I'm like, okay, I get what they're trying to do, but yeah.
All of the sorry. A little dry here. All of these these keynotes are in their own way kind of terrible. It's kind of instructive because I think when we watch the Microsoft stuff, we can be a little critical of the mistakes or some of the really long, boring, bad parts, whatever. But Apple has those moments too.
Yeah. I love the enterprisey comment though when he did what in Windows 8 was called snapping two windows side by side and they were both Word. He was like, "Yeah, that's enterprisey, isn't it?" I was like, "Okay, that's the whole extent of the enterprise content of this keynote."
He literally moved right on from there.
There is a reason why they might have wanted to highlight Microsoft. It turns out I was talking to a developer yesterday that the ability to do that requires some effort on the part of the developer. It's not automatic, and so. I think Apple, of course, will have all of its apps or most of its apps capable of it. But the fact that Microsoft already has it, I think Apple, without saying so, is saying thank you, Microsoft, for making your touch-first version of Office.
By the way, though, from a user perspective, though, and anyone who uses an iPad Pro, especially, I guess, should acknowledge this. That's the problem with this feature, right? you never know when you go to a new app if it's going to support it at all, if it's going to support it partially. And it's a goofy problem with that platform right now. The side-by-side stuff.
Oh, God, yes. But at least they're doing it. I didn't realize that it was a non-trivial thing for the developer to do.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But that sounds to me then like Apple went to Microsoft, said we'd like you to support this, and they worked with them to get it working. So that's the partnership.
I don't know.
That's where we are now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean the Microsoft Office apps on iPad have long supported that functionality.
They have.
I know they improved it. Yeah. This isn't new to iOS 13. But what Apple did is in iOS 13 they updated that functionality. So I'm sure Microsoft was one of the first ones to get on board with it because they've been doing it all along. Like for productivity apps on the iPad, like this is super important.
Yeah. Well, it's this thing of opening two panes of the same program at the same time that's new to iOS 13. And that's actually a big deal. If you wanted to get anything done, you might want to do that. You might want to have one one note in one pane and one note in the other pane, or so you can copy and paste, all kinds of things like that. So I think that's a nice feature. And it's very enterprisey.
It is enterprising.
It is.
It's exactly what we call it.
What's funny though? I never could get Snap to work on Windows 10. I knew how to do it. I had read how to do it, and I never could get it to work right. It was just so hard for me to snap Windows side by side, and so I never do it to this day.
Mary Jo, this is the time for an online learning video. It's the easiest thing in the world.
I've looked at these. No, it's not. It's not intuitive, and it's just easier. It's you know what? It's easier to just have floating windows. It is.
Oh my God, Mary Jo. This is all you need to know. Windows key plus arrow keys.
I don't use those though. I do everything without special keys. I know.
Oh, Mary Jo. You can also.
I hate gestures. I hate gestures and I hate special keys.
How do you feel about fluent design elements?
Oh, please stop it now. Now you've gone too far.
Focused in box? Are you kind of a focused in box?
Rounded corners and stuff? I don't know. I don't have an opinion.
Now, the Microsoft game they showed, which is called Microsoft Earth, that's not the same as the Microsoft AR game
it is.
Minecraft
that's
Earth.
it.
That Minecraft.
Yep.
It's the same, but different.
That's the one.
Oh, okay. The one where the girl is skateboarding around and making stuff.
Yep.
That's the same game.
They just showed it before with Android, right? That was the first way they showed it, and this is the first time they showed it on iOS.
Nice. It worked really well. Occlusion and placing and all of that really seemed to work quite well.
Yep.
I do have to say, though, in the long run, no one wants to hold their phone up to their eye all the time. I mean,
this is waiting for glasses.
It's all
guys.
about glasses. It's all about getting.
Apple's coming out with glasses. This is happening.
Yeah, they're just conditioning us to say, "God, there's got to be a better way." Well, as a matter of fact,
they're going to solve it for us.
We have solved it.
Remember, 4.5 years ago, almost, we saw HoloLens for the first time, and there was the stage demo that they did. And then they took us into rooms later on and made us go through various demos, and some of them were productivity focused. Some of them were about learning type things. Remember, there was a thing about rewiring an electrical switch with the guy and the Skype window and so forth. But I think the funnest demo, the coolest demo, was essentially what we just saw. It was a Minecraft demo.
Right.
And in that room, you had a Minecraft castle on a table, and you had a Minecraft hole in the wall that bats would fly out of. And you could walk around each and kind of look at them in 3D space with the HoloLens on it. And it was really rather incredible. And at that time, they weren't sure if HoloLens might develop into a consumer product or whatever, but it was just a neat and obvious graphical demo to do for that device. And here it is happening in real life, not with the HoloLens, of course, but in other AR-capable devices.
They didn't mention Azure Spatial Anchors, so I felt a little deflated.
I did. You'd be glad if you had been watching it on our stream. I immediately pointed out that they were using Azure Spatial Anchors.
Also didn't mention Microsoft. I'm relatively sure that
It's really strange. Yeah.
I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
That was weird.
But anybody who's paying attention knew what was going on, that there was a lot of Microsoft in there. And yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, Microsoft obviously, participated. I would say, right? They must have had engineers.
Well, Mojang is
there
owned by
and stuff.
Microsoft. I mean, those were two Microsoft
Yeah, but I mean,
employees on
you
stage.
think Microsoft had nothing to do with the presentation? No, I think they must have been people. Oh, that's right. They were Mojang employees, so they were Microsofties.
Right.
Yeah.
But I bet on the Word part, I bet on the Word part, Microsoft didn't have to have anything to do with that.
Well, other than, I guess, support it early.
Making it work.
And
But I mean,
Apple the code,
You know how these things are, though. When you have an event like that, there's people backstage. There's engineers backstage.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised there weren't. I'm surprised there weren't more third-party app demos, frankly, and that tells me that they probably planned on it and they just weren't ready. I think Adobe
maybe
would have been an obvious choice.
I think the other thing is this was 2 hours and 15 minutes and it was jam-packed, much more so than usual. Apple had a lot to say and a lot of many more new things to talk about than ever before. So you're right. They often like to have third parties on stage, but honestly, I think they were really.
Oh no, I don't mean having a third party on stage. I mean just having the apps. I mean.
Oh, I see.
They spent a ton of time right after that demo on notes, and it's like, geez, I mean, could you imagine Microsoft spending any time on a stage anywhere talking about OneNote for any amount of time?
Right.
It's kind of ludicrous.
It's an Apple tradition.
A ton of time.
It's an Apple tradition. I remember when they had the new Postcards app, which they quickly killed. Clips, which is still around, but one would never know it. They like to show the apps that they're developing in-house. For some reason, they often spend a long time on sometimes very inconsequential apps. That's an Apple-y thing to do. I'm not sure why, but it is.